First contact in flames. The research vessel RSV Hawking drifted silently through the Kuiper Belt, its sensors probing the darkness between worlds. Captain Naomi Patel stood at the observation deck, her dark eyes fixed on the distant stars. After 15 years of searching for extraterrestrial intelligence, the most exciting discovery had been a few promising bacterial samples from Europa. But something felt different today. "Captain," Lieutenant James O'Connor's voice crackled through the intercom. "We're picking up unusual radiation signatures about 30,000 kilometers off our starboard bow." "Define unusual, Lieutenant," Naomi replied, already heading toward the bridge. The Hawking might be a research vessel, but it was still the most sophisticated piece of human engineering in the outer solar system. "It's like nothing we've ever seen, ma'am. The energy pattern is organized, and it's moving against the solar wind." Naomi quickened her pace. In her experience, the word unusual in space usually meant either a groundbreaking discovery or imminent danger, sometimes both. The bridge of the Hawking was a cathedral of modern technology, its curved walls lined with holographic displays and sensor readouts. Dr. Isabella Rodriguez, the ship's chief xenobiologist, was already there, her weathered face illuminated by the soft blue glow of her terminal. "Whatever it is," Isabella said without looking up, "it's artificial. The radiation pattern shows signs of quantum manipulation far beyond our current capabilities." Before Naomi could respond, a new alert blared through the ship's speakers. "Multiple objects detected," O'Connor called out. "The original signature is being pursued by something else. They're on an intercept course." The main view screen flickered to life, showing a stretch of space that seemed to bend and distort. Through this cosmic disruption came a vessel that defied conventional physics. It appeared to be made of flowing crystal and light, its hull pulsing with internal energy. But it was clearly damaged, trailing streams of exotic particles in its wake. Behind it came 3 larger ships, their hulls black as the space between stars, absorbing even the distant sunlight. They moved with predatory grace, weapons of unknown design already deploying. "Captain," a new voice resonated through the bridge, but not through any speakers. It seemed to emanate from the crystalline ship itself, forming words directly in their minds. "I am Ambassador Lissara of the Luminex Collective. My ship carries the last survivors of our civilization. We beg sanctuary from those who pursue us, the Void Hunters. They will not stop until we are extinct." Naomi's hands gripped the command rail. First contact was happening, but not in any way humanity had prepared for. They were witnessing both the death and survival of an alien civilization, and their next decision would change human history forever. "This is Captain Naomi Patel of the RSV Hawking. How can we help?" "Our primary systems are failing," Lissara responded, her mental voice growing weaker. "The Hunter's weapons disrupt our energy matrices. We need. The crystalline ship suddenly flared brilliant white, one of its sections rupturing under the strain of damage. The pursuing vessels were closing fast, their weapons charging with ominous purpose. "Medical team to the cargo bay," Naomi commanded. "Engineering, prepare emergency power routing. Isabella, you're with me. O'Connor, you have the bridge. If those ships make any hostile moves toward us, show them what our point defense system can do." As Naomi and Isabella raced toward the cargo bay, the captain's mind whirled with possibilities. The Hawking was primarily a research vessel, but it was built to withstand the harsh conditions of deep space. Its hull was reinforced with experimental metamaterials, and its engines could channel enough power to punch through Jupiter's radiation belts. They reached the cargo bay just as the Luminex ship initiated emergency docking procedures. The crystalline vessel was barely larger than a shuttle now, having jettisoned most of its mass to escape its pursuers. The docking seal formed with a hiss of equalizing pressure, and for a moment, everything was still. Then the airlock opened, and humanity had its first true face-to-face encounter with alien life. Ambassador Lizara was a being of pure energy contained within a crystalline framework, her form vaguely humanoid but constantly shifting like aurora borealis caught in glass. Behind her, 5 other Luminex struggled to maintain their cohesion, their forms flickering dangerously. The hunters, Lizara managed to communicate, her mental voice fading. They found our civilization 3 cycles ago. We thought our technology could protect us, but they feed on energy itself. The more advanced the civilization, the more they hunger. We tried to fight, to run, to hide. Now we are all that remains. Isabella was already scanning the aliens with every sensor she had, while medical teams stood by, unsure how to treat beings of pure energy. Their energy patterns are destabilizing, she reported. Whatever weapons those ships used, they're continuing to affect them at a quantum level. The ship shuddered as the first shots from the Void Hunters struck their shields. O'Connor's voice came through clear and determined. Their weapons are like nothing we've seen, Captain. Shields at 60% and dropping. They're not just hitting us. They're trying to drain us. Naomi looked at the dying aliens before her, then at the approaching hunters on her tactical display. Humanity's first contact with alien life would not be marked by defeat, not on her watch. Isabella, work with engineering. See if we can rig something to stabilize their energy patterns. Ambassador, if you can, share any tactical data about your pursuers. We're about to show these hunters that not all prey goes down easily. The Hawking's engines roared to life as Naomi raced back to the bridge. Humanity had spent centuries preparing for first contact, developing protocols and procedures for every scenario they could imagine. But now, facing an enemy that hunted civilizations themselves, those protocols meant nothing. What humanity had instead was centuries of warfare experience, countless stories of underdogs prevailing against superior forces, and an infinite capacity for improvisation. As Naomi took her command chair and began issuing orders, she realized that perhaps this was exactly the kind of first contact humanity had been destined for. Not a peaceful exchange of knowledge, but a desperate last stand alongside refugees from the stars. The Void Hunters were about to learn that sometimes the most dangerous prey is the one that chooses to stand and fight. All hands, she announced shipwide, battle stations. We're about to make history. The price of compassion. That RSV Hawking shuddered under another barrage from the Void Hunters. In engineering, Chief Engineer Dmitry Volkov worked frantically at his station, his calloused hands dancing across holographic controls as warning lights flashed around him. The quantum harmonics are all wrong, he muttered, watching power fluctuations spike across his displays. Beside him, Isabella Rodriguez had jury-rigged a containment field for their alien refugees, but it was failing almost as quickly as she could adjust it. The Luminex survivors flickered like dying stars, their crystalline forms growing more transparent by the minute. Their energy signature, Ambassador Lizara communicated weakly, her thoughts becoming fragmented. It resonates at a frequency your shields cannot maintain. Another blast rocked the ship, and one of the younger Luminex nearly lost cohesion entirely. Captain, Dmitry called over the comm. Conventional shields are useless against their weapons. But I have an idea. It's absolutely insane, but it might work. On the bridge, Captain Patel gripped her chair as the ship executed another evasive maneuver. At this point, Chief, insane might be exactly what we need. The Luminex's crystalline structure, Dmitry explained, it's not just a container for their energy form. It's a quantum computer more advanced than anything we've ever built. If we route our shield generators through their crystal matrix, we might be able to adapt our defenses to their attacks. The procedure would be dangerous, Lizara interjected, her mental voice stronger for a moment. In our weakened state, connecting with your systems could destroy us completely. Lieutenant O'Connor's voice cut through the discussion. 3 more hunter vessels just dropped out of FTL, Captain. We're about to be surrounded. Naomi made her decision. Ambassador, I understand the risk, but right now it's either try something dangerous or face certain death. The choice is yours." There was a moment of silence. Then Lizora's voice reached them all. "My people have spent too long running, Captain. If we die, let it be while fighting back. Dmitri, Isabella, make it happen. O'Connor, plot us a course through the thickest debris field you can find. Let's see how well these hunters handle some old-fashioned space warfare." The next few minutes were controlled chaos. In engineering, Dmitri and Isabella worked to interface the ship's shield generators with the Luminex's crystalline technology. The aliens themselves contributed what knowledge they could, their thoughts growing clearer as they found purpose in the collaboration. "Basic physics still applies," Isabella noted, watching the energy patterns shift. "Even advanced quantum weapons have to obey conservation of energy. If we can't block their attacks, we redirect them." Dmitri finished, his eyes lighting up. "Use their own energy against them. Captain, we're ready to attempt synchronization." The Hawking dove into a field of ice and rock, debris from the outer solar system becoming both shelter and weapon. The Void Hunters followed, their black ships moving with predatory grace. But here, in the chaos of tumbling rocks and unpredictable trajectories, humanity's experience with messy, practical space operations began to show its worth. "Synchronization starting," Dmitri announced. The ship's lights flickered as power was redirected. In the makeshift containment chamber, the Luminex began to glow brighter, their crystalline forms resonating with the ship's systems. The effect was immediate and spectacular. The next hunter attack struck their shields, and instead of draining them, the energy was caught in a crystalline matrix of quantum fields. The Hawking shields lit up with rippling patterns of light, like aurora borealis wrapped around the hull. "Energy absorption at 60% efficiency," Isabella reported, her voice tense with excitement. "Their attacks are actually charging our shields now, but the system won't hold forever." "It doesn't need to," Naomi replied. "O'Connor, bring us about. Weapons, target the largest concentration of debris ahead of the lead hunter vessel. Let's show them why you don't chase your prey into an asteroid field." The Hawking's point defense systems, designed to clear paths through space debris, now fired in reverse. Targeted shots sent chunks of ice and rock spinning into carefully calculated trajectories. The Void Hunters, for all their advanced technology, hadn't expected such primitive tactics. The first vessel took multiple impacts, its energy-draining weapons useless against simple kinetic force. But the hunters adapted quickly. Their formation spread out, weapons charging for a concentrated barrage that would overwhelm even their new defenses. That's when Ambassador Lizara spoke again, her mental voice now harmonizing with the ship's systems. "Captain, we can do more than just absorb their attacks. My people, we can channel the energy. But we would need your ship's targeting systems and trust." Naomi didn't hesitate. "Do it." The Luminex merged more deeply with the ship's systems, their crystalline forms pulsing in rhythm with the shield harmonics. When the hunters fired, the Hawking shields didn't just absorb the energy. They redirected it, turning it into focused beams of quantum fire that struck back at their attackers. One of the hunter vessels, caught off guard by this impossible defense, took a direct hit. Its black hull cracked, leaking the same energy it had tried to steal. The others pulled back, their coordinated attack faltering in the face of this unprecedented resistance. "They're regrouping," O'Connor reported, reading multiple FTL signatures charging. "Captain, I think we actually scared them." The bridge crew held their breath as the Void Hunters, perhaps for the first time in their existence, retreated from their prey. Their black ships vanished into FTL jumps, leaving only lingering energy signatures in their wake. But victory had come at a cost. In engineering, the Luminex were barely maintaining coherence, their energy spent in the defense of the ship that had given them sanctuary. The ship itself had taken damage, its experimental systems strained to their limits. "We need to get back to Earth," Isabella said, monitoring the aliens' failing signatures. "Their energy patterns are still degrading. We need better facilities, more power." And we need to warn Earth. The hunters will be back, and next time they'll be ready for our tricks." Naomi looked at the tactical display, at the distant blue marble of Earth that held humanity's future, and at the dying aliens who had chosen to trust them. "Send word ahead. Tell them. Tell them everything. Earth needs to prepare, not just for refugees, but for war." The Void Hunters thought they found easy prey out here in the darkness. Instead, they found humanity. As the Hawking limped toward home, its systems intertwined with the technology of their alien guests, Naomi knew this was just the beginning. Humanity's first contact had become humanity's first interstellar conflict. But they had achieved something remarkable today. They had proven that sometimes the best defense isn't superior technology or overwhelming force. Sometimes, it's the willingness to try the impossible, to take risks that more advanced civilizations would never consider, and to stand and fight when running seems like the only logical choice. The real question was, would it be enough for what was coming next? Unconventional warfare. 1 month after the Hawkings returned to Earth, the International Space Defense Command's headquarters beneath the Rocky Mountains buzzed with activity. Admiral Kenzo Tanaka stood before a holographic display of the solar system, watching as red markers indicated possible Void Hunter incursions at the edges of Kuiper Belt. Unconventional warfare. 1 month after the Hawkings returned to Earth, the International Space Defense Command's headquarters beneath the Rocky Mountains buzzed with activity. Admiral Kenzo Tanaka stood before a holographic display of the solar system, watching as red markers indicated possible Void Hunter incursions at the edges of Kuiper Belt. "Their scout vessels have been probing our defenses," he reported to the assembled military and scientific leaders. "So far, they've stayed beyond Neptune's orbit, but they're getting bolder." In the months since first contact, Earth had mobilized like never before in human history. Ancient rivalries were set aside as nations pooled their resources and knowledge. The Luminex survivors, now stabilized in advanced containment facilities, had shared what they knew of their ancient enemy. Commander Fatima Hassan, head of tactical operations, stepped forward. "The good news is that our retrofit program is ahead of schedule. Thanks to Ambassador Lissara and her people, we've managed to adapt their crystalline technology to our existing fleet. The bad news, we still only have 37 ships capable of standing up to their energy drain weapons." "Numbers aren't everything," interrupted Colonel Marcus Jackson, his weathered face caught in the blue glow of the hologram. The engagement at Io Station proved that. A week earlier, 3 Void Hunter vessels had attempted to establish a forward base on Jupiter's moon. They'd encountered what appeared to be a small mining operation. Instead, they'd found a trap. The mining equipment had been repurposed into massive electromagnetic pulse generators. The hunters had never encountered such primitive but effective weapons. Their quantum-based systems had been temporarily paralyzed, allowing Earth's ships to score their first decisive victory. "The hunters are used to fighting advanced civilizations," Dr. Isabella Rodriguez added. She'd become the leading expert on Void Hunter technology, working closely with the Luminex. "They expect quantum weapons, energy shields, predictable tactics. They don't expect railguns, nuclear devices, or electronic warfare." Admiral Tanaka nodded. "That's why Operation Trojan Horse begins tonight. Commander Hassan, you have a go." Across the solar system, humanity's trap was already being laid. Automated mining ships, retrofitted with stealth technology, had been scattered throughout the asteroid belt. Each carried a payload of nuclear weapons and crystalline energy amplifiers, a marriage of humanity's destructive power and Luminex quantum engineering. The Void Hunters took the bait. 3 days later, their main fleet arrived. 15 massive vessels that emerged from FTL like tears in the fabric of space itself. They ignored the seemingly primitive mining ships, focusing instead on the Earth fleet gathering near Mars. Admiral Tanaka watched the tactical display with steady eyes. "All ships, implement Protocol Omega. Let's show them why you don't underestimate primitive species." The battle that followed would be studied for generations to come. The Void Hunters, expecting another defensive action, found themselves caught in humanity's web. The mining ships detonated their nuclear payloads, but instead of releasing their energy as destructive force, the crystalline amplifiers transformed it into quantum shockwaves that the hunters couldn't absorb. Earth's fleet struck from multiple vectors, their tactics seemingly chaotic and random. Ships performed maneuvers that no advanced AI would consider logical, using gravity assists and debris fields in ways that defied conventional space combat doctrine. But it wasn't enough. The Void Hunters were ancient and experienced. They adapted, their black ships splitting into smaller units, using their superior mobility to pick off Earth's vessels one by one. Within hours, a third of humanity's defensive fleet was destroyed or disabled. That's when Admiral Tanaka revealed humanity's final card. Initiate Project Phoenix. Across the solar system, hundreds of seemingly dead ships, casualties from the earlier fighting, suddenly powered up. Their reactors, linked to Luminex crystal matrices, had been playing dead, absorbing the ambient energy from the hunters' weapons. Now they released it all at once, creating a web of quantum energy that trapped the hunter fleet in a cage of their own power. The remaining Earth ships struck hard and fast, their weapons enhanced by the same energy the hunters had expended. Ships armed with simple kinetic weapons punched through destabilized hunter vessels. Nuclear missiles, wrapped in crystalline shells, bypassed advanced shields to strike directly at hunter power cores. When it was over, the solar system had changed forever. The remains of Void Hunter ships littered space from Mars to Jupiter. Earth's fleet was devastated, but victorious. Humanity had announced its presence to the galaxy not with peaceful exploration, but with the defeat of an enemy that had terrorized advanced civilizations for millennia. But in the ISDC headquarters, Admiral Tanaka knew this was just the beginning. "They'll be back," he said quietly, "and next time, they'll be ready for us." Commander Hassan studied the casualty reports with grim determination. "Then we'll be ready for them too, and we won't be alone." She was right. Across the galaxy, other civilizations were receiving the message. The Void Hunters could be beaten. Humanity had shown the way, combining primitive warfare with advanced technology in ways the hunters couldn't counter. The age of running and hiding was over. The real war was about to begin. Unity through adversity. The Sol System Defense Academy, built in the aftermath of the First Hunter War, sprawled across what had once been the Australian outback. 6 months after humanity's victory, its halls were filled not just with human cadets, but with representatives from a dozen alien species, civilizations that had emerged from hiding after learning of the hunters' defeat. Professor Isabella Rodriguez, now head of Xenotechnology Studies, stood before a diverse class of students. A hologram behind her showed the quantum structure of a Void Hunter vessel. The key to defeating the hunters, she explained, wasn't just technology. It was understanding that advanced doesn't always mean better. Each of your civilizations developed in unique ways, found different solutions to similar problems. Together, we're stronger than any single approach. In orbit above Earth, the shipyards never slept. New vessels were under construction, each incorporating technology and insights from multiple species. The Luminex provided their mastery of quantum engineering, while the recently arrived Corvin brought their expertise in gravitational manipulation. Human ingenuity tied it all together, finding unexpected ways to combine these different technologies. Ambassador Lazara, her crystalline form now stable and brilliant, stood in the ISDC's new unified command center. "We thought our loss of physical form made us more advanced," she communicated to Admiral Tanaka. "We never considered that it made us predictable, bound by the very efficiency we prized." "Humanity's greatest strength," Tanaka replied, "has always been our adaptability. We're not the strongest, fastest, or most advanced. But we learn, we improvise, and we never stop trying new approaches." The warning came on a quiet Tuesday afternoon. Long-range sensors detected a massive FTL surge at the edge of the solar system. The Void Hunters had returned, But this time they hadn't come with just a fleet. They'd brought an armada. Over 100 hunter vessels emerged from FTL, their black hulls somehow darker than before. They'd clearly evolved, adapted their technology to counter the tactics that had defeated them before. But Earth had changed too. The response was immediate and unified. Ships from 6 different species took up defensive positions. Each vessel was a unique combination of technologies. Human nuclear power cores wrapped in Luminex crystal matrices, Corvin gravity drives linked to Earth's conventional engines, weapons that combine multiple species' understanding of physics in ways that defied conventional science. But the real surprise came from the smallest additions to Earth's defense force. Thousands of tiny drones, no bigger than ancient fighter jets, swarmed around the larger ships. Built by the insectoid Zarkax, but piloted by human consciousness uploaded into quantum computers, they represented everything the Alliance had become. Multiple approaches combined in unexpected ways. The battle for Sol, as it would become known, lasted 3 days. The Void Hunters brought overwhelming force and countless millennia of experience. The Defenders brought innovation, unpredictability, and the combined knowledge of species that had tired of being prey. When the quantum dust settled, the Hunter Armada had been decimated. Their rigid tactics, evolved to counter advanced civilizations, couldn't adapt fast enough to an enemy that combined primitive nuclear weapons with quantum physics, that used gravitational slings alongside FTL drives, that fought with both ancient fury and advanced precision. But victory had come at a terrible cost. Earth's orbital infrastructure was in ruins. Dozens of ships had been destroyed, taking their crews, human and alien alike, with them. The survivors gathered in the ISDC command center, watching as cleanup operations began. "They'll try again," Commander Hassan said, her uniform still stained with smoke from her damaged bridge. Admiral Tanaka nodded. "Yes, but not here. Not anymore. Humanity proved something today. Proved it to ourselves and to the galaxy. We proved that the best defense isn't just technology or numbers or even experience. It's the ability to combine different approaches, to find strength in diversity rather than perfection." Ambassador Lissara's crystalline form pulsed with agreement. Perhaps this is why the Hunters feared younger races so much. Not for what they are, but for what they could become when they worked together. The real victory wasn't just in defeating the Hunters. It was in showing the galaxy a new way forward. Advanced civilizations had hidden from the Hunters, each trying to survive alone. Now they were learning to work together, to combine their knowledge in new and unexpected ways. And at the center of it all was humanity. Not the most advanced or powerful species, but perhaps the one best suited to bringing them all together. Because humans had never forgotten what it meant to fight against the odds, to improvise, to find unconventional solutions to overwhelming problems. The age of hiding was over. The age of unity had begun. Dawn of a new era. 5 years after the Battle of Sol, the Galactic Defense Council met in the orbiting city of New Alexandria. Through the station's quantum crystalline windows, Earth shone like a jewel, its orbit now crowded with ships and stations representing dozens of species. Admiral Tanaka, his hair now more gray than black, stood before representatives from 30 different civilizations. The Luminex delegation glowed with renewed vigor, their crystalline forms incorporating elements of human design that made them more resistant to energy weapons. The insectoid Zarkax chittered quietly among their human-designed interface systems. The Corvin's gravity manipulation fields rippled with anticipation. The Void Hunters have lost 60% of their known fleet strength, Tanaka reported. More importantly, they've lost their aura of invincibility. 17 formerly hidden civilizations have joined our alliance in the past year alone. Commander Hassan, now Fleet Admiral Hassan, brought up a holographic display of the galaxy. Red dots showed confirmed Hunter activity, but they were few and scattered. Green markers highlighted Alliance fleet positions, growing more numerous by the month. "We're not just defending anymore," she announced. "The joint fleet is pushing into Hunter space. Every engagement teaches us more about their technology, their tactics, their weaknesses, and every victory brings more allies to our cause. Professor Rodriguez, her hair streaked with silver, but her eyes still bright with curiosity, took the floor. The hunter's greatest weapon was always fear, she explained. They convinced advanced civilizations that technological superiority was all that mattered. But by combining our different approaches, human adaptability, Luminex quantum mastery, Corvin gravity control, Zarkak's swarm coordination, we've created something they can't counter. We're not just a military alliance, we're a new way of thinking. The evidence was everywhere. Ships now incorporated technology from multiple species, but not in the rigid, efficient ways the hunters expected. Human chaos theory combined with Luminex quantum computing created weapons that acted unpredictably. Corvin gravity drives linked to Earth's nuclear reactors produced power systems that couldn't be drained. But perhaps the most significant changes weren't military at all. The exchange of knowledge and culture between species had led to explosions of creativity in art, science, and philosophy. Human music, with its complex rhythms and emotional resonance, had particularly fascinated the logic-driven Luminex. In turn, their quantum-based art forms had inspired new branches of human mathematics. The hunters are still dangerous, Admiral Hassan warned. They're adapting, evolving, trying to counter our combined capabilities, but they can't adapt fast enough. Every time they develop a defense against one approach, we create 3 new ones they've never seen before. Ambassador Lazara, now the head of the Luminex delegation, addressed the council. We thought we had reached the pinnacle of evolution when we transcended physical form. The hunters believed their path of consuming advanced civilizations was the ultimate expression of power. We were all wrong. True advancement comes not from perfecting a single approach, but from learning to combine many. The council chamber erupted in discussion as reports came in from across the galaxy. Another hunter fleet had been defeated in the Carina sector, their energy-drain weapons useless against ships that combined primitive kinetic weapons with quantum-guided targeting. 3 more civilizations had emerged from hiding, bringing new technologies and perspectives to the Alliance. Admiral Tanaka watched it all with quiet satisfaction. Humanity had found its place in the galaxy, not as the most advanced civilization, but as the ones who could bring different approaches together. They were the adapters, the innovators, the ones who could look at disparate pieces and see new possibilities. The hunters aren't finished, he reminded the council. But neither are we. Every defeat makes them stronger, forces them to evolve. But every victory makes us stronger too, brings us new allies, new ideas, new ways of combining our strengths. As the council session ended, Tanaka stood at the window, looking down at Earth. Humanity had dreamed of first contact for centuries, imagining peaceful meetings or devastating invasions. Instead, they had found their place as neither conquerors nor victims, but as bridges between different ways of thinking. The Void Hunters had spent millennia preying on advanced civilizations, forcing evolution through conflict. But they had created something they couldn't have predicted. A coalition of species that had learned to combine their strengths, to find power in diversity rather than perfection. The final battle with the Hunters would come someday. But when it did, they wouldn't face a single civilization trying to match their power. They would face the combined creativity and determination of dozens of species, led by humans who had never forgotten what it meant to be underdogs. The age of the hunters was ending. The age of unity had begun. And humanity, for all its flaws and limitations, had helped show the galaxy the way forward. Not through superior technology or overwhelming force, but through this simple, powerful idea that different approaches, combined in unexpected ways, could overcome any obstacle. It was a lesson Earth had learned through millennia of conflict and cooperation, and now they were teaching it to the stars. The dawn of a new era had arrived, and it belonged to all of them, together.